Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric. This week's PPF Pro Tip video, we're gonna be starting a new series. This series, we're gonna be going over how to read panels for your paint protection film installation. So we got this Honda Pilot right over here. We're gonna be doing a full front end installation on it. And what we're gonna do, I'm gonna walk you through the hood, fenders, bumper, and mirrors. And I'm gonna teach you guys how to properly read these panels so you know how to get the film to lay down in its correct spot. So I hope you guys enjoy this series. Okay, so we got our back corners down on this pre-cut hood template. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch the PPF down to this corner over here. So I'm just gonna lift it up, get some tack solution underneath it, and then I'm just gonna put my hands further back, and I'm just gonna stretch this film down into place, line that corner up. Got my tack solution underneath there. I got that all squeegeed down. Okay, that's good. Now that we got that corner down, we're gonna go to do the same thing on the other side. All right, there we go. Now, if you wanna look right across the hood, you can see how the PPF is starting to crease itself here. That's because what we need to do is we need to stretch the PPF down into place over here. You can see exactly how this hood is notched out, that we've got ourselves probably a good solid inch and a bit that we need to stretch. So now all I'm gonna do is get some tack solution under the film and on the paint, and then I'm just gonna stretch that down into place. Hold that. Just gonna hold that there with my thumb for a little bit. Then I'm gonna squeegee that down, and that's gonna stay in place. Now we're gonna go get this corner down. Actually, can do a little bit better than that and get a little bit closer to the edge. That's what I want. Okay, good. Now I got that tacked down. Now we can get to the whole point of this video. So we got this hood PPF on here, and we're using a pre-cut template, and as obviously as you can see so far in this video, this template is smaller than the actual hood. And that is by design. These templates are designed with stretching in mind to get the film to be able to properly lay down on the panel. So you can see over here, we don't have much PPF that we're able to wrap, but the film's got to come down a little bit on the front. So we're gonna work at that. But before I continue with anything, what I want to do and what I really want to highlight here on this hood, and you can take this principle into any hood that you're installing paint protection film on, whether it's bulk or pre-cut template, is you can see these areas over here where we got all this air. This right here, you got to get, before you can start squeegeeing, you have to address the air buildup underneath the film, and you have to get rid of it. Otherwise, this install is never going to work well. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm just going to lift the film up, and I'm going to spray some solution underneath the film. And I'm just gonna take and massage that solution around under the film. Also try and wiggle it around to make sure that there's no areas that are starting to stick. We'll do this area right here. Just like that, and we're good. I'll put a little bit more slip solution on top of the film so the squeegee won't have any issues gliding. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come right here and I'm just gonna prematurely tack this. So I'm gonna get some tack solution underneath here. I'm gonna stretch the film down so I have the proper amount of PPF overhanging that I wanna wrap, just like so. There we go. Had a little bit much slip solution there, so just gotta flush some of that out. Okay, now like I said, we need to take and address the air. All you wanna do now is reach as far back as you can, and you just wanna take, and you wanna pull all that air out the front, and that's gonna help the PPF lay into place. You can see that right there, just like so. We're gonna do the same thing over here. There we go. Now we have these air pockets over here. I'm not gonna worry about these now. We're not gonna get too far ahead of ourselves. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take and squeegee everything else down now. So I've already got this squeegee down right here. I'm just gonna take my squeegee and just gonna squeegee out the back. From there, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take and pull the solution that's over here. I'm gonna pull it into this valley that we just got down. So overlapping squeegee strokes. And I'm only going far enough so that all the solution gets into that valley. And I'm gonna come all the way down the hood here, just like that. And then I'm not gonna worry about this finger that's popping up. That's nothing to be concerned of. Now we're gonna come over here. We've got all this solution that we pulled into this valley. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna massage it and get some of this solution over here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take the palm of my hand and I'm gonna lay this flat. I'm gonna lay the palm of my hand flat on the paint, and I'm actually gonna push it out the back. That way we can get this down. Just like so. Now, because you can see how this is wanting to pop back up, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hold this down just like that temporarily. And then I'm gonna take and bring my squeegee back over here, overlapping squeegee strokes. And I'm pulling all that solution from that valley into this valley that I just got down that's wanting to pop up again. In a situation like this where it's wanting to pop up, I think I'm actually gonna hold my whole hand on this area to keep it from popping up. So now I can go back over here, continue to pull all that solution over to this valley. And now I'm gonna hold that there. I'm gonna come back over here to the front, and I'm gonna start to pull all the solution out the back. Now, one thing that the film is wanting to do is it's wanting to lift up over here like it was before, but I still have my hand on the overlapped edge there, keeping that from popping up the best that I can. So now that I know that I'm confident, I've got all of our solution out. I'm gonna grab my tack solution now, and I wanna do this quickly because as soon as I let go over here, this is gonna wanna lift just like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some tack solution in here. And I'm just gonna repeat the process. Going over this extra thoroughly. And as you can see, that's staying down. But what I am gonna do is I'm gonna lift it up one more time. Just flush that out with my tack solution. Squeegee that down one more time. So now what we need to do is we need to address this area over here. Now this is where things are gonna get a little bit more tricky, especially on this Honda Pilot hood, because you can see the way the film is creased. It's kind of rounded itself here, and it's rounded itself over here. And then we've got these big fingers over here. So now what I wanna do is I'm actually gonna lift this film up. It's starting to stick in some areas, you can hear that. And I'm gonna get more slip solution underneath here, because at this point, I don't want the film to tack. I want the film to be floating nicely. That way I can actually work with it. So what I'm gonna do now is, because we got this built up air, I'm gonna start and I'm probably gonna have to do this a few times, but just to start, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this air out the back, and I'm gonna do my best to get that to lay flat. And that's working well. But we still have to address this over here, and we also have to address this big finger. So this big finger, if you're new to paint protection film, this could be like pretty alarming seeing this, but if you know how to work the film, this is nothing to worry about. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna come right over here. We don't have as much film to wrap around the edge, but we do have enough that we can still do a good wrap, just not as much as I would like. But because of the curves that we've got going on over here, we're gonna be able to work with that. So now what I'm gonna do, before I get carried away and work on that, I just wanna take my squeegee and I'm gonna run right across this ridge. These ridges, when you have them, if I go back over here to this ridge in the middle where I was squeegeeing like this is a pretty small ridge and you can do that. But this being a sharp ridge, you don't want to be pulling the squeegee over top of this sharp ridge. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the squeegee to contour to the shape of that ridge, and I'm just going to slowly pull out the back. And I'm gonna do this a couple times. There we go. Now we're gonna come back and we can safely work over here. So what I'm gonna do here is lift the film up, and I'm gonna flush this area out of all the slip solution. So the only thing that's gonna be in there is tack solution. Now, we're gonna be using a technique that I like to call sawing, and I learned this from one of my instructors a number of years ago. So basically what sawing is you've got all this built up film, but obviously you can't just squeegee it down and have it lay flat. What you need to do is you need to saw this film down at an angle, and as you saw it down, what it does, it actually disperses all that material. So you can see how that's starting to work already. So I'm just gonna take and flush that out again with my tack solution, and I'm coming at an angle here, just like so. And I'm not doing too much, just a little bit at a time. Now I'm gonna change up my positioning. So Nix, if you wanna come around to that side. just flushed all that solution out of there, and we're just gonna keep this process going. I like to always have my hand, I like to be gripping the film a little bit. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking that built up material and I'm just moving it over. You don't want to rush yourself when you do this. You want to take your time, do it right. When you're doing this, you don't have to feel bad if the PPF starts to lift itself up, even after you think you've squeegeed it down. As long as you're not squeegeeing down and creasing the film. See, like this, if I were to squeegee this down like that, that would crease it. But if I take and just cut it down a little bit at the very top, it's not going to crease it. Just about done with that. Perfect. Now what we can do is just got this little guy right here that's causing a bit of an issue. Hit that with some tack solution. Make sure that none of these are going to pop up again. There we go. There we go. Now we can move on. Now if we move back over here, you can see we still got this right here. All I'm going to do, flush that out as well. I'm not too terribly concerned about the way the film was. We didn't crease it, we got it to lay down flat. Once we wrap this edge, we can take and trim off any excess. But this little bit that's stretched a little bit differently, that's not of any concern to me, and it shouldn't be of any concern to you because we'll be able to wrap that edge perfectly. So now everything along this front edge looks good, and that's exactly what we want. Now we're going to work our way over here. So we got the film, it's building up a little bit over here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift this up, pull it a little bit further back. There's still a bunch of slip solution in here, and I'm just going to slowly start to work all that solution out. And we've got these fingers over here, same thing we did with the fingers across the front. We're just flushing these out with our slip solution. Now, we don't want to crease these fingers. We're going to take these down at an angle as well too. And there we go. What we're going to do is we're just going to let that edge dry out before we come back later on and wrap that. Okay, so we got the hood, it's fully installed. All we have left to do is wrap the edges. I'm not going to show you that, it's very boring. And we've got videos on the channel about that. In fact, we'll link some down in the description below. But this is part number one, how to install a hood, pre-cut hood. A lot of the same principles are going to apply on no matter what kind of hood that you're working on. So if you've got valleys and recessed areas, before you start squeegeeing, you want to get the PPF to be able to lay down into those valleys and recessed areas just with the slip solution that's underneath there. That's going to be a huge part to finding success in what you're going to be doing with those hoods. And then when you have areas over here where we've got ridges, you know, simple tips and tricks are don't squeegee over the ridge, squeegee with the ridge. So I hope you guys found value in this video. If you did, leave a comment down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned to our next video where we are going to go over how to properly install a fender.